Airtime. Get it?
Get it.
Oh. All right, call a Thursday, March 23rd meeting, Board of Selectmen meeting to order. If you'll stand and pledge allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Do you have any announcements? All I get is this. Accounts payable warrant number 17-17, signed this past week by the chair, $956,292.73. And payroll warrant 17-18 for March 13th, $292,085.23. Any changes in the agenda?
I don't have any.
Nothing?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public input? Nothing? Mark Wetzel?
Thank you. We have a few things on the agenda, including an exciting presentation. The first on the agenda is the recommendation for appointment of the DPW department assistant. Our department assistant gave his notice a couple weeks ago. So in accordance with the union contract, that position was in the clerical union. So we posted it within the clerical union. Ms. Bean applied, and we interviewed her, and she's more than qualified and meets our needs. So I recommend that Mr. Ramona Bean be appointed to the DPW department assistant, and that would be beginning April 3rd.
And it's a union position anyway,
Yes.
right? So it just,
And it has a 6-month probation. In the
Oh, it
position,
does?
Yeah.
so if you vote no, you stay here, right?
You do understand you'd be seeing him like on a real regular basis,
That's
right?
that's the bonus.
The bonus.
The other bonus is she sees Doug Jasperson on a regular basis.
That's
On the other hand, you seeing him on a regular basis, you might straighten him out a little. So there could be you could be a pro to that. So
wish you luck if the vote goes your way.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to say?
well, gonna be a shame to not see him here anymore. You'll be missed, but okay.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to thank Mona for all of her service as the assistant tax collector. It's been about three years?
Every 4 years.
Almost 4 years. Been an excellent employee and a real asset to the town hall and to the town. And we'll be sad to see you leave town hall, but you're not leaving the town. And wish you all the best at DPW, which is a big gain for them.
Thank you.
True, you're right.
She taught the whole job this week. I asked her, she showed me what you doing. Didn't take long.
Yeah, right.
Well, I've been doing her job for the past week, so.
Oh, you got a mess on your hands. You're gonna have to straighten it out. Oh my God. All right. I'd like to make a motion that Ms. Ramona Bean be appointed as the DPW department assistant, effective beginning on April 3rd, and 6-month probation. Why that motion
Second.
started going downhill.
Any more discussion? Just want to reiterate what Robert said, and thank you for doing a good professional job in the last 15 years. How many years you been?
Yeah, right.
And for being a joy to be around.
Thank you.
Town hall's loss is
That's
Mark's
right.
gain. So,
That's right. So,
all in favor?
That.
aye.
Aye. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Mona.
Mark, treat her
All
right.
right, let's see, where is Dan? So the next agenda item is Washington Street drainage improvements.
Again?
Hey,
guys.
So Dan has the contract for execution. Basically, what we're doing is we have in our Chapter 90 budget to repave Washington Street in different phases. And the first phase is from about Moore Drive up to about Nashua Street. So what we've been doing on all of our proposed Chapter 90 projects is evaluating the infrastructure under the road and replacing that before we pave the road. Probably a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
So we did a detailed evaluation of the drainage up there and discovered that a lot of it needed to be replaced. We do have in our capital budget a certain amount of money to replace drainage pipe, but we need some additional money. So we're using the Chapter 90 money for the remaining amount. So you can explain the contract a little bit.
So we designed the project in-house and actually bid it twice. We bid it once in the fall and didn't receive any bidders, and then we received 5 bidders this past spring when all the contractors are hot for work. And so we ended up receiving bids ranging from $112,825.10 to $143,000 and some change. And Ricciardi Brothers Inc. is the low bidder, and they're also the contractor working on the Pleasant Street project, which is going to be restarting this April, but that's another project. Based on that, I received the signed agreement, bonds, and then insurance certificates, and everything's in order. And I have those ready for signature by the board. That's what we.
Any questions?
By the full board or by the chair?
By the board, full board.
What's the time? Is it over the summer? Is it a long process, or is it?
No, it won't take long.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah,
I imagine
2.5 months, maybe.
we just talked with them this morning. They're going to bring the crew, and they've got a little bit of drainage to finish at the top of Pleasant at Groton Street, and then I imagine that crew would go right over there and bang this out. National Grid also, and I'll put something out on Facebook. National Grid's going to be starting replacing their gas main on that stretch in 2 weeks.
So before we pave it.
Yes.
Okay.
Now we
Now
just need to get to Verizon to remove the double poles. We're
Yeah.
working on that.
Yeah.
Mistake.
In the dirt they pull up out of the ground too. Yeah. All right. Anybody got any other questions? Is this just from Moore Drive to Nashua, or is it going to be longer?
Well, the paving, this drainage is really just that section. There's like 3 or 4 sections of drain that need to get replaced.
All right.
Catch basins and pipe. What we're looking at doing is doing Washington Street in 3 phases.
Right.
So we would do it's just below Moore Drive where we left off.
Okay.
When they were building the high school, we didn't want to go any further
Oh,
up.
we did from the hospital up.
We did from the hospital up. Well, actually, it's just below the high school construction we left off. So we'll go from that point up to about Nashua Street. Then the next phase will be from Nashua down to probably around Highland, where we did the water main last year. And then the final phase will be from Highland down to Maine. And one of the reasons why we're doing it that way is it gets more expensive as you get closer to town, because we'll be doing more granite curbs and concrete sidewalks and things. But in the paving, we're going to be doing bituminous curb and where needed, and bituminous sidewalks, and bring everything up to snuff.
Cool. Anybody got a motion or question?
So the Ricciardi Brothers was the 112?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the Washington Street drainage improvement contract with Ricciardi Brothers Incorporated in the amount of $112,825.10.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any more questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Get these later.
Yeah, we'll get those back.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then the final item is, as you may know, and I'll bring up World Tech Engineering, who's doing a study for us. Let's see if,
Get a chair behind you.
we had, just to give a little background on this project. Let's see, I got that nice picture of Main Street there. I'd seen a grant offer about 2 years ago, right when Governor Baker took office, to do a parking management study. And so I applied for the grant, and we got the grant, and then the governor's office decided not to fund it. But I still thought it was a good idea to do a parking management study and we'll get into the reasons. But so we put money in this year's budget, and World Tech, and I got proposals, and World Tech had the most advantageous proposals, so they've been working with us on this. So what the goals are really to manage the parking spaces throughout the town, throughout the downtown area, and you'll see where the limit of the work is. But to designate on-street, off-street parking, if we want to do pricing, identify signage, have an implementation plan, and have a real parking management program. So this is the study area. It shows where the on-street parking is, where the municipal parking, which is the light green, and then all the private parking in our downtown study area. Uh-oh, something got messed up on the formatting. Anyway, but the parking issues, lack of town-owned parking lots, commuter parking on the residential streets, lack of parking for business employees, winter off-street parking, and a lot on Main Street. We get a lot of parking too close to the intersections of the side streets and the crosswalks. And that's not your car being towed, is it, Chris?
What's that?
You see the picture of the car being towed?
Oh, yeah, it could be.
And you know, one of the reasons why it's important to do this right now is because we are going to be building a new parking lot at the rail trail, and that's primarily for the commuters and the rail trail users. But there's definitely going to be some impacts on the rest of the parking for a couple reasons. One is that they're going to be charging a daily rate for parking. So if someone can find a free spot, they will probably park there. Yeah. Convenience, you know, some people may say, well, it's easier for me to just pull off Washington Street and park over on Pleasant Street, so that's what I'm going to do. Access, it sometimes takes a while to get out of this parking lot at night. And then also habits, you know, I've been parking here for the last 10 years, I'm going to keep parking here. So we want to develop some strategies and regulations so that we can minimize these impacts. So the methodology that the study is going through is data collection and analysis, survey of the business community, meeting with the property owners, develop recommendations and strategies, and then we'll do a review by the town officials and police department and implementation. Tonight, what I'd really like to do is we'll talk about some of the potential strategies, but get some kind of, yeah, that's a good idea, or no, we don't want to do that, before we invest a lot of effort into developing a detailed implementation. The
record.
I'll have Mike talk about the data collection that we did. It's pretty interesting, and we have different slides on that. So you want to just jump in on what you did?
Sure. So we did field surveys, not really complete occupancy all day. We really wanted to determine where the commuters are parking, and which areas of town are impacted by that. So we surveyed the streets and off-street lots that were in the study area at around 6 in the morning. Really, kind of before a lot of the commuters are coming to get on the train to go into Boston. 8 in the morning, which was after the last train that gets into Boston for 9 o'clock hour leaves, and then again in the evening, 5 p.m. and after 7 p.m. to capture when those commuters would be coming back into town and leaving. We also inventoried parking restrictions around downtown. So the lots here are color-coded not by ownership, but by who can park there. So the Rail Trail lot and Zero Park Street are really the only lots that are open to the public. The rest are just for certain businesses, the Verizon lot or business lots downtown, the Town Hall lot, which is designed for Town Hall employees. And parking restrictions, a lot of downtown is, you can see the dark green, is 2-hour parking from 8 to 6. And then on Central Avenue, there's it's mostly 2-hour parking from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., except for a small strip just east of the post office that's also 8 to 6. And then the brown shading in the rail trail lots designated as 4-hour parking for rail trail users. So the parking supply in town, we have a total of about 170 on-street parking spaces, and that's subtracting out for driveways, safe distances from crosswalks and from corners, and other no parking zones. And then a total of 447 spaces in off-street lots, but only 100 of those, 80 in the rail trail lot, 20 in the Zero Park Street lot, are open to the public for parking. So at 6 in the morning, we see some commuters are coming in. The rail trail lot's about a third full. This is color coded by relative percent occupancy. The North Middlesex Bank parking lot on the south side of Lawton Street is about a third full. Bank employees, maybe some residents parking in there. And also the private lot on the north side of Lawton Street is about a third full. All the streets virtually empty. So out of a total publicly accessible spaces, only 29 were occupied.
Is that West Street, the 13%?
Yeah.
And I have a question on that, Mike, that I didn't ask you before. When we were doing construction on Pleasant Street, we had no on-street parking. Was that underway when we did the study?
Yeah, I believe
it was.
So
Yeah.
the West Street's going to be picked
So
up.
yeah, so it's probably similar to West Street.
Yeah. So then at 8 a.m., some more commuters have come in. The rail trail lot's about 80% full. Zero Park Street's 90% full. Bank employees have come in. The Northern Middlesex lot is getting full. And also Lawton Street itself. I didn't mention this back in the regulation slide, but there are no posted regulations on Lawton Street. So that's filling up with commuters also. And then at 5 p.m., it's kind of where we see the full effect of commuters still parked there, plus people coming downtown to do business in the evening. West Street sees 113% full. That's because out of the number of actual safe, legitimate parking spaces, those are full. And then in addition, people are parking too close to the corner, too close to driveways, really where they shouldn't be parked. Lawton Street, nearly full. A lot of the private lots, 1/3 to about half full. In Main Street, about half the spaces are taken. And then at 7:45, when most of the commuters have gone, but people are coming downtown to go to restaurants, go to the billiard hall. Now we see Main Street is overparked, but really a lot of the side streets aren't. You see, nobody parked on Washington Street, where there are about 19-20 spaces available. Lawton Street's emptied out. Some of the other side streets are about a quarter to a half full. And the rail trail lot and Zero Park Street are also mostly empty at this hour. So Main Street is overparked, but in reality, There are still another 200 spaces available in the downtown area that are publicly accessible, plus another 236 in off-street lots that are restricted, but that's land that's not being used at that time. So we recorded license plates for each vehicle that was parked during the day, so we can determine a length of occupancy and figure out where the commuters are. So of the vehicles who are parked in the same spot at 8 in the morning and at 5 in the evening, about half the rail trail lot was commuters, 65% of Park Street, and you can see 56% of the vehicles on Lawton Street.
That's new.
That's oh, I'm sorry.
I kept wondering where Lawton was.
Lawton's the one up in the top of the center.
Right, sorry, Newton Street.
Yeah.
And then also the Northern Middlesex parking lots, probably bank employees parked there during the day. Couldn't determine if it was actually a commuter parked there, but those are taken during the day. On the street, nobody was parked in a 2-hour space throughout the day, so the time restrictions and enforcement do work. So what we can take away from the data we collected, commuters do take advantage of unrestricted parking in Zero Park Street and along Newton Street. Time limits are respected. We didn't see anyone parked in a 2-hour zone all day. In the evening, Main Street and West Street, there were more vehicles parked than they could safely accommodate, while other parking around was underutilized. In Washington Street, nobody parked on it, and lots that were underutilized.
All right. So we also passed out surveys to the businesses, and we've gotten some back, but we haven't gotten all. Alan's working on follow-ups. But some of the comments that we got were, my customers get tickets, there's not enough parking for customers, I need more parking for the train commuters, and the commuters are clogging up the parking on the, and it's hidden but on the local streets. So we also developed some parking strategies that have advantages and challenges to those different strategies, and we'll run through those quickly. So unrestricted parking, which is more or less what we have now. We do have some time limits and things like that, but it's convenient. It's no cost to the people parking. The enforcement and maintenance costs are somewhat minimal, with the exception of where the 2-hour zones are. The challenges with that is there's a lack of turnover, no control over where commuters park, and the neighborhood residents may have a hard time parking when they get home from work. Having a time restriction, which is what we have on some streets now, you do get more turnover. There's no cost to do it. You do need to manage the commuter parking. The challenges are that it can be inconvenient. You have to enforce it, and you have to maintain it, maintain the signs and the areas. Metered parking, which is what I know Ayer used to have meters. I'm not sure when they got rid of them, but you do get more turnover. You generate some revenue, and you can manage your commuter parking. There is inconvenience. It could have impacts on Main Street businesses if people have to pay every time they want to stop and pick up a pizza. It does cost the users. There's a capital cost and maintenance cost to collect the money and manage the money, and enforcement. I used one of those electronic meters like that in Boston one night, and it was raining, and I couldn't tell what I was supposed to do and how much it cost. Just put my credit card in and hope for the best. Shared parking. This is really kind of where parking's headed these days. Is as we've seen, we've got a lot of parking lots, a lot of parking spaces that aren't filled for a lot of the day. So you do have the parking supply. It's convenient. It's a good use of the land instead of building new parking spaces to maximize your existing use. The challenges are we have to have agreements with the property owners. There could be some liability issues. Determine who has the responsibility of maintaining it, what the design standards are. So for instance, one lot may have 9-foot spaces, another one may have 10-foot spaces, some of them may not be big enough for certain types of vehicles, and so we have consistency issues. And then in a lot of urban areas like we have up behind Main Street, can have residential permit parking, so that the people that live on those streets have a parking sticker, and they're only allowed to. They're the only ones who are allowed to park on those streets. So you have less out-of-town impact and can manage commuter parking. There can be a cost associated with that enforcement, and it's also inconvenient for visitors and new tenants and people that aren't aware of that. For my birthday, went out to dinner with my sons, and one of them lives in Somerville. And we went out. I picked them up. We went out to dinner. I came back, and my son says, "Oh, Dad, I got a present for you. Come on in." And I walked in, and I came out, and I had a ticket.
Somerville is brutal. They have contractors, so if you work on the displays, the contractor, if you don't put it in the right spot in your window, they ticket your vehicle even though you're an obvious contractor working on a customer's house.
Wayfinding signs, I know this is something that once we have a strategy and know where the parking is and what's short-term and what's long-term is to really put information out there, signs and things on where you can park. I know we got a call today from a new resident in town that was wondering where they were allowed to park for commuter parking for the train, and I think Dan did find a map and sent it to them. There is some cost associated with that. There may be some ADA issues with the sidewalks, and then again, just maintenance of the signs and the parking areas. And then satellite parking, you can get some additional supply, which may not necessarily be close to the downtown, but it could be within walking distance. Yeah. I put that in sideways, but that's actually the bottom of the slide is Town Hall, and then the post office, and then that's going up Central Ave. That was a concept that was done 5 or 6 years ago. It can be inconvenient. There's obviously it's more parking, more capital operation costs. User costs and maintenance. So when we talk about these strategies, I wanted to just throw out some ideas that some of these are that we're looking at. One is having the marked spaces on Main Street. I'm not sure why we don't do that. What I find is people park too close to crosswalks, so you don't see the pedestrians until they're in the travelway. They might park too close to the side streets, like trying to pull out of Washington Street can be a challenge because you gotta keep creeping out and looking. And also, if you have it marked out, you don't get the 10-foot spaces between one car and 1 foot between another car. This is where one we'll get to as one of our tasks we're still working on is shared parking at private lots. And I've talked to a couple of the owners if they would consider this concept, and I think this is real feasible, is to block off a certain number of spaces for certain times, and it's a matter of how do we manage it and who gets the money and who maintains it, things like that. On-street parking permits for neighborhood residents and businesses, where the permit parking is only on specific streets. Potential for paid kiosks on Main Street. If we did that, we would probably recommend half hour free or something like that. I think we definitely need to look at a pay kiosk at the Zero Park Street lot. And then obviously we'll, as part of the plan, we'll come up with a better wayfinding and signs with clearly marking where parking's allowed and what the restrictions are and what the time limits are. So those were the items that I wanted to get input on. Where we are next, and I can go back to that other slide, was we're tracking down some additional survey responses, and then we need to get some feedback from the selectmen, the police, and the community on what we ought to be doing. Alan and I will be meeting with the big lot owners and really nailing down some details on what we could do and what they would require and what we would require, and then do a little bit of an additional data analysis, and then refine our recommendations. Then we'll come in with a proposed plan. So I didn't know whether the board had any comments on any of these ideas. I know you guys have been around longer than I have and seen things that have changed in town, and
It's a good start. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm around town all day, and some of the ways people park are, yeah. I mean, Pleasant Street's ridiculous. I mean, there's a poor dentist over there. They can't even park because there's so many commuter parkers park. West Street, Lawton Street. I'd love to charge them because it's only going to take away from the surface lot.
right.
You know.
Well, and that's where we could do, 2-hour parking or 2-hour parking plus resident permit parking.
Right.
Or we could do permit parking where residents get the sticker for free, but
Right.
commuters pay $500 a year or something like
Right.
that. Once they start having to pay, I think you guys are talking $3 a day.
Which is reasonable.
It's reasonable, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
No, it should be uniform.
Because we don't like spending just like $3. We don't mind spending 20. 20 makes sense. $3 is enormous.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's true. I mean-
But that's really what it is. It's gonna be those small amounts. It's just annoying, but the big ones always go, well, that makes sense.
well, a lot of this stuff too is, a lot of it is you got to have smartphone apps that can pay for your parking and things like
It's a lot
that.
more
So
convenient.
it's a lot more convenient. People, dinosaurs like me, aren't sure how to do that, but my kids look at me like, you don't know how to do that? Like me trying to put my quarter in the credit card slot in the meter, but
Did you look at all on, I'm just thinking over where St. Andrews is,
we
along the garden.
right. We didn't look at that. Kind of, it was sort of outside of the area, but that would be a place where we could do satellite parking. I know people park there and they jump over the tracks. So I think we'd have to be a little careful on parking there and saying this way to the train, but it's kind of at your own risk. But that is definitely a spot that.
And there's another grassy area on the other side of the bridge, and you start to go up East Main Street on the right-hand side. There's a couple of trees. There's a lot of people that park along there
Yeah.
that go to the courthouse. So I don't know if that might be something that's feasible too, that we
Yeah.
can generate some revenue out of.
Mhm. Yeah, the one of the lot up farther up Pleasant Street with the Verizon building, that rarely has any vehicles in it. And so that's one of the people we want to talk to. But that's kind of I think the commuters park there. But if you have another 100 or so spaces at the rail trail, then they would probably rather park there. But like, for instance, I talked to Calvin Moore when we were doing the Pleasant Street construction about allowing residents to park during the day in his lot. And he said, he just really cares after 5 o'clock. He does have businesses that use it, but they only use probably about a third of the spaces. And so those are the kinds of things we would look at is 2-hour parking or 8 to 5 or
How
something
many
like
people
that.
park at the old fire station during the day? 5 or 6, 7?
It's usually about, I'd say 5 to 6.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes a little more, but I'd say 6 is.
Which will be off the table at yourselves, but privately, but like I said, people will park anywhere. I like the idea of meters, but I also don't like the idea, like you said, people want to grab a pizza or run into the store to grab something. I mean, there's gonna be some type of give there
Right.
with local residents.
Yeah,
You know,
and
coffee.
you could do, like in front of the coffee shop or in front of the cottage or places like that, you could have 2 or 3 15-minute only. I know, in my town, when I go to get pizza, and I drive down Main Street, and there's never any parking, because they don't have 15-minute lots, so you gotta drive all the way around the block, and you go in the next lot, and that one's full, so then you gotta drive all the way around the block again. So, then pretty soon you just go, I'll just go to Woburn and get my pizza. So those are the kinds of things we want to avoid. And so think about who's using it, how are they using it, how do we make it convenient, how do we not affect the businesses but improve the experience for the businesses and the shoppers.
I think it's important to get the commuters in the lot,
Yeah.
free up all those spaces around there.
Yeah.
I think,
I agree.
The weekends aren't a problem. The rail trail won't be a problem after 6 o'clock, I'm assuming, right? So,
And the downtown area, a lot of people aren't here like on weekends, but you come down Friday, Thursday, Friday night, you look
It's
over here.
busy,
all
yeah,
restaurants. It's
yeah.
great, but it is loaded.
and it's
Yeah.
only gonna
Both sides
get,
of
it's
the-
only gonna get heavier too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's gonna be restaurants.
So we have a new restaurant coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, so it's
Yeah.
great, but,
But even like that, I mean, would the bank be open to, people parking in back?
Mhm. Right, and those are the things that we'll look at, obviously.
Yeah.
A lot of the businesses are, the parking behind the businesses are owned by the business owners, so if they can get their customers in, then they can park there, so.
and another thing to remember, that the parking that was put in at the beach this summer, it was fantastic. I mean, I think it worked out well for the community, because the residents were able to park, and there was dedicated spots.
Mhm.
There wasn't people parking all over the place anymore, because, and pay, a lot of times to come park there.
Right.
And there's dedicated parking for our residents with a little sticker they could
Mhm.
pick up here.
Mhm.
It worked out great.
Yeah.
Made it a safer place.
All right. Yeah.
Just a quick thing, slightly off topic, but on topic. Right here in front of the post office, so if you come down Main and you turn on to Columbia, and you have the crosswalk, and then you've got a sign saying no parking, and it's got the arrow. But people will have a tendency to park it right there, which they're running in.
Drives me crazy. No, they shouldn't.
But I didn't.
On
know-
the other side,
Right in front of the post
Yeah.
office. And so I'm thinking either maybe place another sign or something, maybe they're misunderstanding that the sign is, where the arrow is, but when I purposely will come around this corner as slow as possible, because people will just all of a sudden dart out.
Yeah.
But then you come around and all of a sudden somebody's parking right there, you got parking on this side, you got another car, and then they won't look, they'll just throw open that door and step out, and you're like,
Yeah.
thank God I was coming around slow.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
But that really
Right.
needs to be adjusted.
yeah.
at all
We do have I'll look at the signage, we do have a new light pole coming
That's what
fairly
we're
soon, so there was
Could
one
be,
on there.
but maybe, I don't know, because
It should be
they've
free.
always been parking
yeah.
there, but maybe the sign was too high for some people, maybe one needs to be a little bit lower, but I mean, it is awful when
Right.
you come around.
And
that
we
corner.
can just make,
Oh, I
yeah,
know, but,
and then, give them a ticket every once in a while, and things will get
Oh,
better
yeah.
too. But we'll look at the signage and
yeah.
see what we can do.
And plus they park so close to the crosswalk too.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
Hmm.
now you've got that car, somebody's coming out, and then you're, oh crap, now there's somebody coming in
Yeah.
the crosswalk. And like I said, I mean, I purposely try to come around slow, but even slow, somebody's gonna get hurt.
There's, and I know Chief Murray looked into this a few years ago and found out how the parking was in Washington. And we bumped up, I know you guys marked it up,
Right,
so
yeah.
that helped, I mean, it seems like it would, because people were parking all the way down, and then it's pushed up probably, what, 30 feet for the first space?
Maybe turn
Yeah.
the corner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go
Yeah.
that way a lot during the
Yeah,
day.
it
but
definitely helps.
definitely,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, I think maybe they're stipend spots.
Oh, that's what
Yeah.
we might have to do that on Main Street where,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know how far back you go from the curb.
It's generally 20 feet,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Wow. So you wouldn't have any parking on the street to do that?
Well, we can lay it out and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
But that's basically, when you looked at the analysis, that's what it was based on, right?
Yeah.
What was the legal locations of parking, so.
Okay.
They still have about 25 spaces down Main Street.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see the study presented and hope that this might be available online at some point, just because there's a lot of information to take in about it.
Yeah, I can put this presentation online, and then once we wrap up the study, we'll do a public meeting on the study and then put that online.
I couldn't see your satellite parking slide very well, but I know you're talking about something on Central Ave. Are you doing angled parking as opposed to parallel parking there?
I wasn't looking at anything other than sticking a graphic up that
Okay.
someone else had looked at parking there. That was the, let's see, the hybrid lot.
Okay. Have you looked at if any of the roads can have the layout and capacity to do angles as opposed to parallel parking? Because Central
Yes.
and also Newton back
Cen-
here,
yeah.
but Newton really needs sidewalks.
Yeah, we'd have to look at Newton, but Central Ave we could do, we were talking about that, Alan brought it up, and so that's one of the concepts. And actually, that hybrid lot property has been sold, so.
There are no spaces there. Once it's a curb cut, I would assume there's one there. So, no, this is great, it's great timing too. It's good.
Yeah, well, that's what we don't want to wait until their lot's open and then we go, oh gee, now what do we do?
Yeah,
We need to work together on that.
because there will be 15 or 20 people that will do whatever they can to avoid paying $3 a day to park there. They will park in people's driveways. It's amazing. So,
We're going to open the DPW as a satellite lot. They can ride the back of the dump truck down.
There you go. Great, thanks.
All right, great, thanks.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Good evening.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Very good.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
So and just mouse or no, I'll do it.
Yeah, not here.
Okay. Are you gonna advance your own slides?
Yeah.
Amanda's in the house. Hi, Amanda. We'll go through this quick. We'll be right after you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, at the request of the Board of Selectmen, we have with us this evening from MART, Mr. Mohammed Khan, the administrator, Mr. Bruno Fisher from MART, the assistant deputy administrator, Mr. George Kahale from MRPC, and in front of you, you have Mr. Larry Keegan and Miss Alessa Peck, who are both engineers
Hi.
with Weston and Sampson, and as the board is aware, Weston and Sampson was the engineering firm selected by MART for this project. And at the request of the board, they are here tonight to make a presentation to the board on their formal professional recommendation as it pertains to the project. And I think it's important to note that their recommendation does incorporate all of and takes into consideration all of the comments and materials and information submitted by the public at the February 22nd public input meeting. Additional comments that were made here during the public meeting with the Board of Selectmen on March 7th. I know various individuals have also submitted concepts, questions, concerns, and ideas either directly to Mart, which they received, or through your office, which they received. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'll turn it over to Larry and Alyssa.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert, and thank you to the board and Carly as well for the opportunity to present the project to you tonight. As Robert mentioned, we were hired by Mart with some goals in mind for, excuse me, for this parking facility. There's currently 84 spaces. Oh, gosh. There's currently 84 spaces at the lot. So one of the goals is to maximize the parking, and the goal has always been to achieve as close to 200 spaces as we can for commuter and rail trail users. And as part of this project is funded through an FTA grant, we are looking to maximize and utilize all the funding we can for the town of Ayer. In addition to the parking, we are looking to improve the Depot Square area and really create a Depot Square area, because right now it's a sea of pavement. There's really no safe and clear pathway to the train. And then enhance and improve the Main Street pedestrian crossing as well, which currently there's actually no wheelchair ramp in the direction towards the train. So right now, this is really the last stage in the schematic design process is getting through the Board of Selectmen hearing. And once we're done with this, we're going to move forward to preliminary design on whichever option the board chooses. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Larry. He's going to talk about the traffic analysis that he's done and also discuss the takeaways that we took from the hearing or the workshop last month.
Okay, we performed a limited traffic study in the area. We took turning movement counts and 24-hour counts at several locations, at turning movement counts at the intersection, the main intersection, Main and Park, and at Park and Groton. We took 24-hour counts on Main Street and on Park Street. What we found after we looked at the peak hour numbers for the traffic coming through the intersections, which is basically 7 to 8 in the morning and 5 to 6 at night, is that, as you can imagine, Main and Park Street is kind of horrendous. It's a level of service F, F being the worst, A being the best. And there's long delays, there's long queue lengths, the traffic just backs up Park Street. Park and Groton, in the morning, it's not too bad. It's a level of service C, so it's about the middle of the pack. And at the PM, it's an E, so it's pretty bad still in the PM. Now, in order to get 200 parking spaces, that was our goal. Just to achieve that, I used that as a number of maximum number of spaces when I did the evaluation. I also brought everything out Groton Street to Park Street because it's a worst case situation. So with the 84 spaces that are there now, there's an additional 616 spots that will be available if we get 200. And as you can imagine, the additional 116 vehicles are going to make traffic worse in all conditions at Main and Park and at Park and Groton for delays and for queuing. So what we tried to do is think of ways that might be less expensive to mitigate the traffic. So what we looked at and evaluated is going westbound on Main Street, adding a right turn lane, leaving a little bit of on-street parking in front of the store there, and roughly 20 feet from where the new textured crosswalk would be coming across, which we'll talk about later. In addition, coming southbound into Main Street on Park, at the mouth of that island is about 28 feet. At the back of it, there's 25 feet. And we feel we can get a right turn lane in there also. And I think many people use that anyway as a right turn lane, but many don't. They come up and they just get in back of each other like sheep. And if it's actually painted, I think you'll get more bang for your buck out of the pavement. When we look at that, the AM and the PM is still a level of service F at Main and Park because there's a lot of vehicles coming in and out of there. However, there's less delay and the queues are shorter by 200 to 300 seconds less on the delay and 200 or 300 feet less on the queue when we add the extra lanes in there. People who want to take a right don't want to be behind someone taking a left, so they cut out that way. Park in Groton, it's slightly worse. We looked at possibly putting a right turn lane there. It's tight. We feel we can get 2 9.5-foot lanes in there, and then probably 11 feet on the entrance lane. Now, again, conceptual at this point. Would need better survey to look at this, but with this setup, the level of service, again, is a little bit worse. In the AM, it's about another 10 seconds of delay, and it's an additional 2 vehicles in the queue. So it's, although it's, the level of service isn't great, it's a D, it is not a lot of vehicles being stacked there. It's actually processing vehicles. In the PM, it's a little bit worse. I'm guessing because that's when the train gets out. And you've got 36 seconds of delay and an extra 2 vehicles in each of those lanes on the queue also. Currently, there's detail police at the 2 intersections. When the train gets out, I suspect that'll stay the same. We also looked at the pedestrian crossing that I had alluded to before on Main Street. We would propose a textured surface of some sort, like a textured resin that would look like brick, but texturized so you wouldn't slip on it. And we'd have the addition of hybrid pedestrian signals also there, which would help to stop the vehicles only when they're pushed, the button, pedestrian activated. Until a pedestrian pushes the button, they stay dark. The light doesn't flash, it doesn't stay on at all. These have self-contained controllers and they're solar powered.
I think probably what they have down, if anybody's seen that at Kugel's Ice Cream, they have those, that they throw pedestrians
Right.
across the road, and you drive through, and obviously it's apparent.
Right. In addition, because the lighting isn't great there, we would put street lights on top of the poles, would mount them on top of the mast-down poles. So it would light up the intersection a little better than it is. Yeah. So this is kind of what we think it might look like. Again, conceptual. It's a wider crosswalk, but you've got a little bit more room to get in and out because of the timing. The actual signals, we're looking at like a HAWK beacon, which stands for High Intensity Active Crosswalk. They kind of suck those letters out of there because it very interesting. This is one we actually put in at Kitchitchwit Rail Trail in Framingham, and it works very well. It's not a very wide crosswalk. It's 10 feet wide, but it works very well. We had a workshop a couple of weeks ago. Some of the takeaways we come from the workshop, obviously there were people making comments. We tried to get them all down, the ones we could hear. The acoustics weren't great, but I think we got most of them. On option 1A, which is the at-grade surface lot, we realigned the trail, took it away from the wall, pushed the spaces into the wall, and took the 90-degree angle up. So it's a straight shot. It's very close to where it was before. We put in some guardrail to keep people from getting backed into, et cetera. We added some compact spaces. We had a comment on that. With the trail alignment, I think we would probably look at doing something a little different with the wall. I think the wall would probably become a little bit smaller and not as long as it turns out. Lighting on the 1B deck option, we would have lighting inside and out for safety, for safety. Lighting at the Main Street crossing, like I mentioned before. We looked at option 1B with the deck, not only with 7-foot, but with 11-foot clearance. So that if people have a rooftop carrier for their bike, they should be able to get underneath. Costs a little bit more, the columns get a little beefier, the foundations get a little beefier, but we feel it may be as much as 25% high, but we're in conceptual design now. As the time goes on and we get into a preliminary design and final design, the contingents we have on will go down and the estimating quality will go up, because we'll
I'm sorry to interrupt, sorry.
Sure.
Would that be to just accommodate bike racks in the top? I mean, most SUVs fit in a 7-foot
correct.
space. When you go to Boston, and you're like, oh my God, I'm not gonna fit. They always fit.
Correct.
It's tight.
Correct.
It's 7 feet.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, if we keep the 7-foot clearance, which is standard clearance, we were looking at, because a bike rack on the top wouldn't work and everybody doesn't have them on the top, but we looked at an offloading location where you could stop the car, get your bikes off, possibly have some picnic benches there or benches where you could put on your sneaks, get your backpack ready, do that kind of stuff, and then park your car in the garage.
Take spaces away.
It may take a couple of spaces away, but we feel it's worth it for the trade-off. Closed circuit TV, definitely in the garage option, maybe in the other lot also. That would be connected to MART and to the police station. And with that, I'll toss it over to Alyssa again, and she'll go into more detail on some of the options.
So I'm going to first talk about the Depot Square area and then move over to the parking facility. So once you've crossed the new and improved pedestrian crossing, oh, thank you, Carly. The yellow is indicating the 24-foot wide aisle. It's a two-way traffic circulation meant for bus and vehicle drop-off. And so there, in order to create the bus, this will be a one-way turnaround. Like so, and a planted island in the center, and this will be the sidewalk. So, in addition to the 24-foot wide aisle, we'll have a sidewalk bringing the pedestrians down towards the commuter rail area. There'll be fencing delineating the pathway, so there'll be no, actually I know the temporary fencing is there now, but there'll be no running across the parking area right now. The Advocates Building, which is slated for removal in sometime in the near future, this area will be turned into a pedestrian plaza, which is, at this point, hasn't been fully designed at all, but the idea is that it will have seating, lighting, landscaping, and also a comfort station.
Don't forget the fountain.
Oh, and the fountain, thank you.
Right.
And really, the goal, and I know Alan has in mind, is to create a sort of a center for the community as well.
Was there anything looked at as far as handicap spaces in that area?
So thank you for bringing that up. It's actually my notes on the next slide, but that's okay.
Don't jump ahead.
No. So one of the comments that we also received was looking at the idea of handicap parking over here. So we'll certainly consider that, and you might have some space available. So we'll look into that. And I previously mentioned the comfort station. So that's fancy for a bathroom. And So the land at the parking facility is currently owned by the Department of Conservation and Recreation, and that will be transferred to the town. And part of that agreement is that mitigation for it is that a comfort station needs to be constructed as part of this project. And we feel that this location is really suitable for it because the Advocates building is going to be removed. The utilities are there. It's a reduced construction cost. It really just makes sense, and it helps create that center. So to the parking area. So this at-grade parking concept, which we've been referring to as option 1A, creates 149 spaces. And because the goal is to add parking, we need to expand outward. And in order to expand outward, if you've been down here, you know there's a pretty a steep hill along this eastern property line. And excuse me, we'd have to create a wall along the property line in order to add this additional parking area over here. And this area creates about 28 spaces. In addition, the Mart is looking to acquire the Park Street parcel, and this area gets about 16 spaces. Because of the size of the lot, in order to create the proper circulation, this is looking like it would have to be a one-way in and also a right turn only out due to the angle. And to get back to this area over here, the wall as it stands, at this level of design, we have it pretty close to the property line. In order to fit the depth of the parking and to create the circulation, you need to extend it that far towards the line. And as one of the comments we received was the trail formerly hooked a couple of 3 right turns, so we decided to change that, and we more or less keep it in the same general alignment as it is now. Although you can't really see it here, we've put a fence line to separate the cars from the bike, or guardrail to separate the cars from the bikes and walkers. And so, and one thing to note too, and I know the former use of the property up here was the Chandler Machine Shop, so there may or may not be environmental hazards as well that would need to be explored if this is chosen. At the conceptual cost estimate level, this concept, including Main Street and Depot Square, all totals about $2.2 million, and this is not including any environmental considerations that would have to be considered in the event that soils would have to be removed.
And machine shop up there, the large machine shop, so there's a good chance we could be looking at environmental issues with obviously.
Yeah.
21E was done phase 2, and they found when they did build the rail trail parking lot, and yes, it was done, and there were higher than acceptable levels of arsenic and nickel laced into that area from the Chandler Machine Shop migrating westward towards the North Shore River, so don't do that slow. Pick it up just a bit.
So here's the wall. So we will, if this option is chosen, we'll certainly look to keep it as far away from the property line as we can, keep it as short as it can be. We'll move on to the parking deck concept, which is option 1B. This gets us to 184 spaces. So the expansion in this case is obviously up. It's a smaller footprint. It's not impacting that hill. Currently, we've priced it out with a 7-foot clearance, and in the event we go with an 11-foot, that you're looking at an increase of cost of up to 25% more. The design is opened air. It's not closed in. If you're on the lower level, you can see out on both sides. And as Larry noted, we'll be providing securities, including lighting and the CCTV. I've already had a discussion with the police chief, and we'll continue the discussion through the design process to make sure their concerns are met.
And how much was that one?
Oh, I haven't got, so there's about $3.5 million of money available for the project. And this one we'll have to tailor the design to make sure that it stays within that budget.
Would you need the 11 foot? I see you have the open air at the first, let's say, 10 spaces. Would we
Right.
need to go to 11 feet? Would that be a designated spot?
Right.
As opposed to adding 25% to make it higher?
It could be.
Yep.
It could be.
Okay.
And again, those are the things that we would look into to try to get as much bang for the buck as we can for the town and Mark.
I mean, 25%
Sure.
is a big chunk, but it's also, you're also raising it visually 4 feet.
Sure.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, the trade-off is,
So this is a view standing on Park Street looking towards that new acquired parcel. The idea is that this would be landscaped. It doesn't have to look like this, but it would be landscaped and provide some kind of screening from the deck. And Carly, do I click on?
Oh, yeah.
So we've put together an animation of what to get an idea of what it would look like. The other one, yeah.
Yep.
Of what it would look like as though you are on Park Street.
Ugh. Sorry.
Very rudimentary graphics. But
The idea is that you can see through the lower level.
you'll see that in a slide coming up.
Yeah.
You want to do that one now, too?
No, I'll wait.
Okay.
Thank you.
Seems like you're adding quite a bit of green space too. I mean, not adding, but accentuating.
Well, so along the property line, you're going to maintain the natural buffer.
Mhm.
This will be landscaped right now. It's an asphalt parking lot with a building there, so I think it will look a fair amount
The
better.
parking on Park Street in this option is off the table. It's not included, so this will all be buffer.
And here's just another view of the crossing at Groton Street at the entrance. And then this is standing on the bike trail. That wall is the existing granite block wall that's there now. As you can see, I know one of the concerns was that you'd be closed off from that it would be a security issue. You'd be closed off from the lower level. So there's no wall. There'll be curbing there, but other than that, it's going to be open to the bike trail and to the parking deck. Likely, we'll be putting wall packs along the outside of the facade of the structure in order to cast light on the trail.
Excuse me.
Sure.
So, would you put, because you can't tell, a little guardrail there so somebody isn't trying
So,
to drive
well,
through?
there'll be curbing. Yeah.
Okay,
They're like concrete or granite curbing,
okay,
so it'll stop the car from, go like a bumper stop.
okay.
Is it beneficial to have people, I mean, everybody's crossing at various points? I guess my point is in the wintertime when there's 3 feet of snow, is it beneficial to have 2 crossing points? Like if that was walled off? So when you left the garage, you could leave at 3 different points as opposed to anywhere along that?
Well, we're trying to keep it as open as possible for safety reasons,
Well, I'm just
and
thinking, like changing something to kind of deter everybody from trekking across the...
Well, in the
or
parking.
we could put a railing between or something like that, like an iron railing, so you can still see through it, but it keeps you from coming through.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a
I'm thinking
real
more like
wall.
Snow removal, and so they're not, they know that there's a walkway and they're gonna clear path A, B, and C to allow pedestrians to leave, not
Right,
where you have a strip and people are jumping over snowbanks and
right.
running.
And we try to leave a little grass strip over here for snow removal, so you can pile it up someplace.
Okay.
And there'll be, it will stripe the inside of the parking spaces too, so that, there might be a couple locations where it's hatched and you can't park there, and then those will be the delineated, locations to to access the trail. Okay.
George?
It won't be more different than what you have today.
Okay.
It will be the same like what you have today.
Okay.
And so this is, so you've got the shoe store to the right and then the Santander Bank on the left, and you're walking up the bike trail. And here's just a rendering, the same picture you just saw. And
Alan, can you put this?
Yes.
That's Groton Street.
and that's Groton Street. Do you want to talk about recommendations?
So we good?
She's just doing it one more time.
You are good.
Thank you.
Okay, for the exciting part. What we're recommending at this point is to construct Depot Square, to put in the Main Street pedestrian crossing, and to use option B, which is the deck option. Now, option 1A, the at-grade parking, it's a lower conceptual construction cost, but it's a higher probability of hazardous soil removal at a premium cost, and it's less spaces, it's 149 spaces. Option B, which is the parking deck option, is a higher conceptual cost, but lower probability of hazardous soil removal. We were looking at maybe keeping the pavement as it is, because it's not in very bad shape. And then we would have to auger in our foundations or dig right where the foundation would need to go, and that would keep the soil removal to a minimum. That way you get 184 spaces. It maximized the FTA grant funds also to be used in Ayer by MART. Whatever isn't used in the grant goes back. So we want to maximize that out so you get the most money you can in town, and at the same time get the most spaces you can. So our recommendation is such.
We did put more money in, we put 260,000 in on top. So maybe that could, including Matt there too, right?
And just, I mean, about the wind, I know this, you discover hazardous materials, you don't know what it could be. And you, I mean, honestly, we could be, the town could be on the hook for digging the entire hill out and remediation and
Right.
stuff like that. I mean, I know it's
Exactly.
an unknown, I'm not trying to scare people, but it is an unknown that could really derail any progress.
Right.
If something was found there.
Just for a little historical perspective on that subject, so we seem to specialize in discovering hazardous material sites at almost every project we do. North Leominster, I mean, of course, we're trying to build intermodal stations next to rail facilities, so you generally get old rail properties, and most of those, I don't think they had many, not many rules that apply, the rest of us apply to railroads. I mean, up in Gardner, we really, it was probably over $1 million we spent up there. We had material that was actually so hot, to go by levels, parts per million. It was one part that was so hot it had to be hauled to a facility up in Elliott, Maine. As you go up, to the bridge to Piscataqua, you turn off there, it has to be hauled all the way up to Maine because nobody else can take it. So it can get very, very expensive, and really depending on what you find. But even while the stuff we hauled to Worcester, it's just you're hauling truckload after truckload, and it's thousands of dollars per truck. So it can add up quite quickly just per.
And you're replacing it. I mean,
and you have to replace it. Right.
Mr. Chairman, as the board is aware, a local example of this, I mean, we know for a fact that, for example, that was the rail bed, and then as Alan mentioned, it was a major machinery shop, and there's already evidence of concerns. A local example is when the new fire station, as the board is aware, was selected, the project spent almost $5 million just in soil and site remediation. So, I mean, that's a recent local example, and not to underplay the concern here about the probability of hazardous soils. It could be a deal breaker for the project in sense of option 1A.
So the old pizza joint was on
Yes.
contaminated soil?
Yes.
Probably why the pizza was good.
Okay. Do you have any-
Just as I brought up before, I'm really concerned, and I do want to see some sort of handicap parking on the other, on the Depot Square. I think that's incredibly important. And I'm not saying 40 spaces, but there definitely has to be some way to carve out spaces for handicap riders of the peak.
We're showing the bathroom facilities in the front, which we probably wouldn't do anyway, because you don't want to look at that as your first look at the public open space.
Right.
So I think if we push that up the other side, we can fit them in. We'll do our best to fit them in. It's very close on that end. Right now, the parking comes into the Advocate Building, head in, and you have to drive over railroad property to get there, to get into those spaces. So if they decide they want to put a fence up, then so we'll look at that.
I mean, our next step is gonna be making that platform ADA accessible. And if you have any money, Bruno, and you wanna throw it that way.
I'll check my personal checkbook, but I don't think it's gonna come.
And just to, so that I know I've asked the same question, but I mean, the MBTA has been consulted in terms of their future. We want to put the bathrooms where they want to put their access to the platform. I mean, this is kind of going hand in hand with their future thoughts.
I mean, I certainly is, and I'll just speak for the consultants, because we spoke with them about this. I mean, certainly anything we do here, we're going to make sure that we coordinate with the T and say, you know, if you were to build an accessible station,
right,
where roughly would that fall? And, you know, so we're not putting something where they're going to say, yeah, we were going to put it right here, but your bathroom's in the middle of it or whatnot. But,
right,
you know, and certainly, I mean, again, from their side, they need like two, on each side, 800-foot long areas they can put these in, so they can put, you know, not just the, you know, the platform itself, but the lead in on, you know, handicap ramps and all that. So, but certainly we'll be coordinating with them so that if, you know, they say, well, if we're going to build it, certainly it wouldn't go any further than this, and, you know, anywhere behind that's fine. So we definitely would want to make sure that that's part of it.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's pretty easy, well, it's easier on
Well,
this.
when we were out there and Bruno was there and Carly, and I asked the question to Mr. Boyle, and I asked, and he said, actually, based on the topography, this is one of the, you know, not easy, but they dealt with a lot harder stations because they have the length in the level, you know, ground.
So, option 1A, you have an entrance on Park Street, and then you're gonna have an entrance on Broughton Street.
Correct.
But option 1B, you would only have the entrance on Broughton Street?
Yes. At the moment.
Yes.
Just a clarification, the entrance from Park Street is just for 16
Right.
parking spaces.
Right, yeah, it's not going to be connected to the.
Doesn't go in. Mr. Morrison?
Ron Morrison, Remax. Between 1A and 1B, on taking into consideration the homeowners at West Street condominiums, which of these two is closer or has more impact on the back of those buildings?
1A,
1A.
absolutely, because the wall is there.
So 1B would be as best protection to their
You
values,
can check the
right?
back to the side.
Right.
Okay.
Right. No, I think that's
Anybody else?
Just to go back, I'm sorry.
Beth?
The parking, or I'm sorry, the traffic evaluation that was done was considering 200 spaces.
correct.
And so both of these options are a little bit, well, 184 is a little bit under, but the 1A would be significantly lower than your estimated traffic. Have you done traffic to determine, you know, what the wait times would be for the actual numbers that are proposed in the design? Would it matter that much?
It wouldn't make that big of a difference, I don't think, between 184 and 200. It may be a little bit more on the other one, the 149. But short of doing the analysis on two more items, at this point in time, we want to figure out what goes to preliminary design first and have the town choose an alternate.
Just for my personal opinion, I like the idea of maximizing the green space, the open space, and considering how the town might use that for maybe a farmer's market down the road, or different functions associated with celebrating the rail trail, or you know, having some outdoor gathering space, that sort of thing, place the, the market idea, I guess. Of avoiding the disturbance to the slope and having a greater offset that would avoid further impacts to the butters, something that I really like, and definitely keeping the continuity and the feel of the rail trail that we have now as a linear corridor, and not causing much of a divergence or impact to that, I think is all good. And then obviously the design, the actual architecture is very preliminary, but I think that definitely having an open feel for that lower deck is very important, and I realize that there's a lot of opportunity. I hope that there's a lot of opportunity for the town and the residents to continue to comment on the details in the future, because there's a lot of work that would still be done, but I like the concept of the deck. And certainly putting a lot of emphasis on what happens at Depot Square, I think, is really important, because that's going to be such a central location and sort of a new landmark for the town and part of our identity, and returning the identity of the centralization of the train and the trains to town, and allowing us to reclaim that in a very positive way, I think is something that we can do. And one thought along those lines is that I don't know if you've seen the historic photos of the old depot that was there, but I think mimicking the old depot and the architectural design of the comfort station, having a little mini depot with the overhead on, I don't know what you call it exactly, but like the canopies extending from the roof and covering the area below the comfort station would be a really nice feature to reflect on, the historic depots and square and the past utilization of the space.
Like we said, we're in the conceptual stages, and the town is a major player in the design, and we'll work with the town and the people in Ayer to come up with the appropriate designs.
Sorry, Katie.
1A has the two in egress, exit, whatever. 1B doesn't. It seems like having two ways to get in and out is preferable over just having one way to get in and out.
That entrance off High Street, 16 spaces only.
Just for that.
They
Yeah,
don't
he just
connect.
clarified it. It wouldn't.
They don't
It wouldn't
connect.
be two entrances. Yeah, it'd be like two different parking lots.
Okay, thank you for
There's a significant
clarifying
elevation
that.
change
That
there.
said, is there a concern that possibly 184 cars going in and out of one entrance might get a little bit clogged? I know that they're not all going to be going in and out of the entrance at the same time, but it's a concern.
One is 184 is 1B.
Yep.
The other option is 149 minus 16. So both has a significant impact about, within the 70 cars or so. The B advantage is that we are keeping the downstairs 16-car parking as in green. And that will also minimize the Park Street in and out. So yes, B is going to have that 70-car. Currently we have 84 cars there, but they're not all at the same time. This is over a period of about an hour and a half or 2 hours. Both has problem, but not one is significantly lower than the other. That's what I'm trying to say. B and A both has problem.
Chris?
Another thing to realize too is we're not bringing another 200 cars to Park Street. We're not bringing an additional 200 cars to the commuters. We're positioning them. And we have 200 cars. These commuters are here. Obviously, we're trying to bring more commuters. We're creating parking for the rail trail, but they're here already. They're already going down Park Street. Not everybody. It's not like the school gets out as you ride the train. Some people get out of work at 3. Some people get out at 7. I think And I think we've talked about this, I know Mark and Dan have worked on some conceptual designs down the road to improve, and possibly a rotary idea or something on Park Street, you know, moving forward, which will be needed regardless of this, because the town is growing, and so is the area around us, so. I don't want that to get lost, and we're just adding 200 cars to Park Street, just with this.
Where they already there.
Where they're already there.
So the bottom line, if we can talk about a bottom line at this early stage, is that there isn't a concern that there would be additional traffic that would make people start honking their horns.
They're honking their horns right on Sunday night.
I think if you had four more vehicles, they're gonna honk their horns.
Okay.
Harry? I think what Laura said, what was getting at was there might be the same amount of traffic, but it may be concentrated in a different place than it is now, in a greater concentration than it is now. But be that as it may, my question is, what is the height of the wall on the top deck?
There's no wall on the top.
The parapet wall is like 4 feet.
4 feet.
Yep.
That's like, so you would see maybe the windows of the cars sticking up over there.
Correct.
I asked that for a reason, and the reason is that if you look at what happened in terms of graffiti at the Maynard parking facility, that particular wall, which was a little bit higher, maybe 8 inches to maybe a foot at most higher, that wall was where all of the graffiti was placed. That wall was just a canvas for graffiti. The same similar parapet wall at the main parking deck.
The town will be taking care of that.
They don't have to be separate walls.
Oh, they are brick.
They don't have to be. Good.
I'm sorry.
No.
Chief, I'm sorry, I didn't see you back then. Are you comfortable, I mean, obviously cameras deter a lot. I mean, people, and if you have a visual.
Yeah, they can. I mean, again.
You can't prevent anything. I mean, people could be painting on this building right now.
Exactly.
But there's no way to do it. But I mean, to Mr. Zane's point, if there's cameras there, you're more likely to be able to.
We'll at least see people doing it. Whether we're going to stop it or not is another story. And again, there's too many unknowns at this point.
Sure.
But we have nothing to compare this.
But cameras are a help. They're a deterrent.
As long as they make it visible and have signs saying this area is monitored. It'd be a big deterrent.
One thing I think I mentioned at the workshop is, we found at the Pittsburgh location, and again, when we did North Leominster, in both cases, probably within, North Leominster was probably within a week, they hit it 3 times, and of course, the last time we actually caught them, they were still sitting in their car drinking beer, saying they didn't do it, but of course, the spray cans were in the back of the car, so it was a little hard to deny. But, as soon as we did the same thing in Pittsburgh, they hit it the first 2 weekends, and literally 2 days after they did it, we had a company in there, they had called this soda blast, and it doesn't really take the finish off the concrete or the brick or whatever you get on it, but it takes the paint off there. And it's kind of what you want to show them is that they'll run out of money for spray cans before you run out of money to take the spray, the vandalism off there. And really, we haven't had, in either case, Pittsburgh has been there since 2005, and it only hit those 2 weekends, and it's never been hit again. And Northumberland's is the same thing, that's been there for now a little over 3 years, and that hit those first 3 weekends, and again, hasn't been hit again. So, but again, we have cameras and all that.
There's been some stuff on the blog today about, and it's been continuous, about the properties. The property where the bike shop was never in play, correct?
No, so that was a beat to the south of.
Yes.
3 and 5 Park Street.
Yeah, and the other 2 properties, they couldn't come to an agreement?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to make that clear because there's been a lot of stuff bouncing around. And actually, Harry, what you said about it was
perfect.
Perfect.
Well said.
Yeah, it was very well said.
Woman in front of you.
Yeah, Linda Garan.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to add my concern about the number of cars coming in and out of the one entrance on Groton Street, that whenever I'm using the rail trail parking lot and I'm coming out, when there's no traffic, I still feel uncomfortable. It's a narrow street. I don't think the lines of sight are great there. And some people take it too fast coming off of Park Street going up. And it's just, it's not a nice place to be adding a lot of cars if we're not adding width to that road, which I don't think we can. So I just want to add my concern about that. I'm curious where we're putting the comfort station. Has there ever been any thought about also allowing some space for a coffee shop so people can take in fluids as well as get rid of them? Or something, because right at the train station, that would just be so ideal. And I think it would even make it more of a, you know,
We really
spot to gather.
didn't think that we'd get in the real estate business to have a coffee shop there. And I understand what you're saying, but there are others in town too, other
Mobile
businesses.
sells coffee.
The mobile station right next door.
It's fantastic.
Right, I'm not trying to put anybody out.
No, we know that.
But I think it's a natural thing to have a small concession of some sort there.
Janice, and then Ed.
Well, it had been discussed. In fact, the last time we had a MART meeting, that was even discussed. And I think the last time we had it, and you're asking the town to be landlords. And that becomes the problem. And so, you know, the idea is to really get the depot square for the railroad fixed. Now, on the note, it's what she's saying on Groton Street. Option 1A, you're still going out on Groton Street.
Right.
So it's like 149 if it fills up in the day coming out onto Groton Street, or 184 if they all come out at the same time onto Groton Street. That being said, I do want to add to a little bit of what she says. That crosswalk on Groton Street for the railway, for the rail trail, is the worst crosswalk ever. You really cannot see it. If you're coming, you've come down Washington, down to, what is that street? Groton Street. You really can't even see the sign saying stop
I agree.
until you're practically on it. So that does need to be fixed. So I absolutely agree with her on that one.
I do too.
That does need to be fixed. But be it 149 or 184, they're all coming out on Groton Street.
And,
Well, 16 less for the.
but then you're putting 16 more out on Park Street.
Right.
Or on Pleasant Street.
That
Or, you know, on a residence street. So, yeah, it's like a never-ending problem.
Ed Kelly and then Harry.
Ed Kelly, ex-merchant. We haven't said anything about controlling this. I was under the impression that it's possible that Ayer would control it, receive revenue and take care of it.
Robert?
And Martin would have nothing to do with it?
Yeah,
Was that?
yes.
that?
Robert, I'm gonna have Robert
Yeah.
talk to that.
So, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Kelly's question, as we discussed on March 7th and have discussed quite a bit since then, it's the intent that when the project is constructed, that the town of Ayer, through the Board of Selectmen, will enter into an intermunicipal agreement with MART. And I know that MART has no objection to the town taking over the management of the parking facility. Now, we all know that by federal law and MART's charge, they're responsible for collecting that revenue, collecting it and administering a lot. But that revenue can be used to improve the parking facility and so forth, and maintenance and what have you. So our intent is that obviously the security and police components would be local. The maintenance issues that Alan had talked about at length at other public meetings, as far as the graffiti removal, the programming of the structure. I mean, we do want to use it potentially for farmers markets and other things. Maintenance issues, that it would be an Ayer managed asset. And the board will be developing that agreement with MART at their meetings. It'll be a public process as well. But that's the intent.
Okay, because my feeling is that if you got graffiti, I think we've heard it from over here.
Yeah.
It has to be removed in 48 hours.
48-hour rule.
Yeah.
I just don't believe it's.
I understand.
It'll happen unless we control it and we do it.
And that's the plan.
And Mr. Kelly, I agree with you because, I mean, and it's not thinking against Mark, but we're here. So if there's an issue, something happens, a light post or something, I mean, you know, our DPW is on call, you know.
Yeah.
potholes, graffiti, I mean, I think it just makes more sense than going up to Fitchburg and coordinating it that way.
We will be,
Karen,
the parking revenue is meant for the purpose of maintenance and reimbursing the town for the cost.
Karen?
I just have a concern about the aesthetics of the fence along, the Depot Square side of it. We want it to look nice. We don't want it to be this big behemoth thing that totally separates the commuters from the town. I mean, it needs to be integrated into the town. So I would suggest, if we have to have a fence, a lower fence, and maybe a green, fence.
Gary?
Excuse me. Just back to that crossing on, I guess it's Groton Street. I really do, that's not just a hazard to the cars coming, it's a hazard to people on the rail trail, coming down on bikes. And I think if we could come to some kind of accommodation with the property owner on the right-hand side as you come out of the lot, or you talked about these Hawk intersection lights, that really is a dangerous spot there. And the other comment I had is, I don't think with Ayer's becoming a destination, I don't think we need to put in our own coffee shop. We want people to patronize the businesses that we have here.
I got a question, Larry and Alyssa. Could an option coming out of Groton Street be one way, just certain times? And it's controlled by the police?
It could be, and again, I took all the traffic out one direction, out to Park Street.
Right.
We all know that once people start getting their daily routine together, some people are gonna take a right to get out of there.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go down Cambridge Street, and they're gonna come down, they're gonna come out downtown a little bit.
That's another 2 points.
You know,
Go to Washington Street up, if they're coming from Groton. and,
Right.
Come that way,
Right.
Washington Street to Groton, so.
It's not necessarily better, though.
No, I agree with you. I think there's definitely, aside from the project, there's bigger issues on Park and Main that need to be addressed, whether this existed or not.
Commuters are hardcore.
Right, yeah.
And your point on Groton, I agree completely with Janice.
We can do some advanced signage coming up Groton Street to alert people that there is a crosswalk coming up. We can do different, like downtown, and maybe not as large, but some kind of textured pavement coming across so that it's physically and visually different from what you see as you come around the
Rumble
corner.
strips as well, that you're approaching something like that.
Yeah.
Good. So, one more question. This includes dedicated all-day rail trail parking, like, I mean, I'm saying
10%.
10% all the time, because I know that's,
Correct.
for parents that are home with their kids during the day, if they come down, walk, you can't find a parking space. That's
Right.
because it's filled up.
I think that's actually in the agreement that the town.
Yes, I just wanted to say it, so.
Yeah, right.
heard that.
It'll be signed as such.
Okay.
I'm just curious in the 1B, how many spaces or how many feet or some measure of what the size of the lot is before the deck? Well, so there's a ramp going up and there's some parking.
The ramp's in the back.
Ramps in the back.
The ramp's in the back. Okay,
Right.
so how much space is there before the structure, between Groton Street and the structure?
How many parking spaces?
Yeah, or how
flip
many
over
feet,
to it.
something. I
Yeah.
just don't, I have no concept of.
Hold on. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8.
I need better glasses.
That's probably
So do
13
I. So 8 out of about 9 apiece, so you're looking at maybe 100.
in the parallel.
Looks like 12 before you get in.
You got about 12.
And the
12
purpose
or
of
13.
that is to keep it
Pushing
back,
it feet.
I mean, I know
Not
we're
wide.
bike racks, but is there a purpose to not bring the deck more towards Groton Street?
Well, it was originally so we keep the bike people outside who might have a roof for
Walk areas.
right, and to keep the dedicated spaces together in one spot.
Okay.
The deck may not be that long. As we get into it and price it in the next go-round, we may peel it back a little further just to make it sure that we get into the budget.
Ron?
I just had a couple of minor things. On the coffee shop, this is my Canterburygian upbringing showing through, but you could put out to bid to the local businesses to lease a little cart or something seasonally, And I think you'd find that the businesses would appreciate that, with an opportunity to get closer to the commuters, because they don't really shop. Right now, no one buys coffee that goes on the train from anybody that I've been watching. Occasionally, with the Union Coffee now has changed that a little bit, but prior to that, you know, the Mobile Elite Coffee was really the only place that you could get it. So that's one thing. On the wall graffiti, Cambridge and Lowell have been successful to some degree, commissioning artists to paint the wall. It also causes kind of a good PR within the town, a little bit of excitement. You might even get the schools involved to some degree. It brings the community together. When you leave just a wall, that's an invitation. It's like an open canvas. But when you actually make the wall look nice or different, you'll find that the graffiti artists, which I'm not so sure Ayer has too many of those to begin with, you know, but they tend to leave it alone because it's already painted.
They'll paint the rail cars.
I'm sorry?
They paint the rail cars.
Well, but those can move out of town.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing, what Ron is saying, you know, from our experience, well, if we engage young local artists and artists to do that stuff,
Right.
you know, they self-police it themselves because it's their work to get the word around it. Yeah.
I think it's important that this is conceptual. We're going to have many more meetings on aesthetics and facades, whether it's stone or brick, and I think that's a great idea with the artists. I mean, there's, like Carolyn mentioned with the fence, you know how I am about aesthetics and landscaping. I mean, that's all stuff that we're going to certainly seek.
Can I just ask, early in the presentation, there was a picture that I didn't understand of a crosswalk. It looked like it was at Park in Maine. I didn't understand what that was supposed to be showing us. There, what is that?
That's something that you might have as a textured surface.
Yeah, but where am I?
Do you see Carlin's, a sign for Carlin's in the back?
So that fence is sort of where the temporary
Is
fence
it at the
is.
very end of the rail trail?
That's on Main Street, across the street from the,
Next place.
across the
So
street
it's like
from
in
the.
Nick Lagus's?
It's like.
Oh, I can go, hold on, let me go to the
Street.
next one.
Full station
Hold
on
on.
the side.
Sorry.
Can you go
It's
back?
as though you were standing, say, right here and looking in here, and then.
It's so such a transformation. It's hard to.
Okay.
You're standing in front of Nick's with your back to the front door.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on, you can see the liquor sign. Man.
Yeah.
This is the block liquor sign.
So we probably need to.
I love this.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, what Weston and Sampson, and well, specifically what Mart is seeking at this point is the board's authorization on a conceptual design, your approval to move forward with one of the two concepts, to take that to preliminary design and then to full design and to move that forward. And I think Selectman Hillman made a good point to stress that the public involvement and input continues during that phase, specifically with all of the aesthetics, the security concerns, and so forth, and in managing everybody's expectation that there is still a lot of work to do based on a very tight budget of available funds to make whichever concept the board chooses to move forward to work.
Right.
So that's what respectfully, because if we never get beyond that phase, it will never move forward.
No, I think, like I said, I think there's a lot of work in progress, but we need to authorize what we're going to do conceptually.
Right.
And we'll be meeting for quite some time, I'm sure.
Right. And the other stuff,
Yeah, silly stuff, not silly stuff, but the important stuff that people see.
There's two more design phases coming through, preliminary and final.
Gary?
When that question about funding, there's a question I've been dying to learn the answer to, and that is, at the meeting on the 22nd, Mr. Fisher mentioned another funding source. And I've been dying to find out what he had in mind when he said that.
I didn't mention the other funding source. There is no other funding source.
You're on video doing it.
Well, I don't know if there was a misunderstanding about what I said. The only funding sources are the FTA funds, and then there's 20% matching funds.
And you mentioned the three initials that started with B. You said which may be available.
There is no fund that the most knowledge is available. Right now, we are under pressure to reduce our fund, both from Washington and Boston. So if we do not use it, they would welcome to take it back.
I'll think back and find that video clip.
I think we, remember we were talking about the sidewalk on Park Street?
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be, I mean,
Outside the
city. I mean, so right now, the only funds we have are about
Right.
3.2-ish million we have from the feds,
Right.
the FDA grant, and then the 800,000 made up of some money Mark has from MassDOT, your UDAG fund, the MassWorks.
We may be able to get something through MPO, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, so that's,
It's
with the
separate
yeah,
project.
the MPO, I mean, basically,
The other concerns that we have with Groton Street or Park Street or
Right.
whatever we do.
right, that all works through the MPO, which, George can certainly clue you guys into how that process works, that you have a representative that goes to meetings and they try to get projects into that. And a lot of that is just driven by, they score the various projects and when they come up, they fund, as they have funds available, they, it's probably.
This is the highway fund.
Yeah, it's the same way you're getting funds for,
The highway
these projects they were talking about tonight.
Right.
Same thing.
Right. Right. Good.
I would like to make a motion that Weston and Sampson, for direction of the Board of Selectmen, pursue option 1B with the elevated or raised deck as discussed. I would also think I would make in the motion that I think it should be a 7-foot deck. Height.
7-foot clearance.
Yeah, 7-foot clearance, and to pursue that with design and move forward.
Seconded?
Seconded. Any more discussion?
I just want to say, I really have struggled with which design that I felt was best, listening to the input and everything. But I really think that, and I really am kind of surprised myself, but I really think that this option is the best for long-term. And if you even look at 1A, the way it's all spread out and everything, it doesn't turn out right, and I think that this is the positive way.
And if I've just an amendment to that motion, possibly and to pursue, and I know this is separate from the parking facility, to pursue all avenues for handicap accessible spots in Depot Square.
I think we would do
Still
that.
seconded.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Balls in your court.
Thank you, folks. Be back next week with preliminary design.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks for your help.
One thing that I think is Selectmen indicated, that make sure that 7-foot accommodate this SUV.
That's a
If it is
standard.
a 4 inches more, you have to do, let's do.
Thank you very much. I do it all the time. I do it all the time. Every time I'm like, am I gonna fit? And I always duck. Like, that's gonna help.
Good, so we can do the work now.
Thanks for.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I wanted to say that we will have a coffee shop. We'll have a place that you can drink at.
For me.
David, an objection, we'll take her next. We'll take her next.
Absolutely.
I'm happy
It's
everybody
create
left.
even problem for the
Chief, you and
handicap.
man. So, Mr. Chairman,
Thanks, Alan.
members of the board, I just take my report out of order if there is an objection, and ask the police chief and Ms. Bellevaux to come to the table. And as the board's aware, in my memo, and the board is aware with the recent resignation of a personnel board member, there is currently not a legal quorum of the personnel board, and therefore the personnel board cannot officially meet or act on any matters, and therefore, as the board is aware, because this has happened multiple times in the last 6 years, all of the functions of the personnel board defer to the Board of Selectmen. Accordingly, in this instance, I'm respectfully asking the board to deliberate and take action on a reclassification of the police department office manager. You have in your packet, Chief Murray brought forth in January a formal recommendation to the Personnel Board to reclassify the position, and you have in your packet the job description highlighted in yellow the changes that occurred. You have from Chief Murray his grading of the position and his recommendation to grade the position at a grade 10. It's currently at a grade 8. And the reclassification was brought up at a February meeting of the Personnel Board, and there wasn't a quorum at that meeting. So it's going on now 4 months. In addition to that, I asked the benefits and payroll manager to look at grading the position as well, and he came up with a grade 10. And at the time that Chief Murray had brought forth the recommendation in January, also came up with a grade 10. And we feel that reclassification, based on the fundamental changes of the job description for the position, is warranted. So respectfully, the recommendation before the Board of Selectmen would be to reclassify the position at a grade 10, step 1. It's currently at a grade 8, step 2.
Is the position changed, Chief, per se? I mean, I'm sure it's just different duties as it was in the past. I mean, I know she's...
Right, well, it's grown immensely, as I tried to document. Amanda now supervises an employee, which was planned, but when we first did this classification back whenever, that employee wasn't on board yet. So that employee's been on board almost a year now. And Amanda's been, and that has worked for us very well, that she manages that employee. So that's changed. And then there are other things that we just never dawned on us that we could get and have for an office manager that Amanda's shown us that we can use to very great benefit to the town. So, yeah, there's been a lot of changes.
I would like to make a motion to elevate the police department office manager to a grade 10, step 1, based on the recommendation of Chief Murray and the the town administrator and the review of the payroll benefits manager.
And Mr. Chair, just through you to Selectman Hillman, respectfully, if that could be made effective, retroactive to March 8th.
Effective,
thank you. Thank you.
Retroactively to, what was it,
March 8th.
March 8th, 2017.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Had a question, but thank you. I'm losing it.
Long night.
I know. So this is a lot different than when we had the whole issue before about what kind of jobs, descriptions of jobs.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So this fixes that.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You're all set?
So Chief, you found an employee that kind of straightened you guys out.
And keeping us straight.
Yeah.
Sorry we kept you so late. Congratulations.
I was just happy everybody left.
So are we.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, back to the top, just a couple quick things under the administrative update. I just want to re-emphasize that Friday, April 14th at noontime is the deadline for all warrant articles, including public petitions, citizens petitions, and the April 24th will be the annual town election all day. And as the board is aware, there are 4 debt exclusion questions on the ballot, and as you saw through a transmission to you, I checked with town council about the legality, the town clerk and I, of adding explanatory notes and the dollar amounts of the projects to the questions. And we've been advised from council through the elections division of the Attorney General that really regulate the ballot, that it just can be the 4 questions, which is problematic in that it doesn't even have the dollar amounts, and we can't put explanatory notes. So what we're in the process of doing is putting together a series of public outreach for the web page and so forth, just public information for people that what are the 4 projects, what are the pros, why do we need all the projects, and what the financial impact is. So as soon as we get that, we'll get that to you as you get questions. We're encouraging folks that have questions now to contact the Selectmen's office, because as you can imagine, a lot of myths and so forth begin to circulate out there, and it's frustrating because we had hoped, as we do with our warrant, that we would be able to at least give the voters the amount and put an explanatory note and so forth, but the ballot is largely regulated by the Attorney General.
So, on ballots all the time, we have, if you vote yes, it can do this, and if you vote no, it'll do this, and we
State ballots,
can't.
they do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I
But
agree.
the rules should apply.
We couldn't
So
agree.
you keep, I'm wondering, I mean, does town council understand when you say explanatory notes? And that's,
I gave them samples.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, that just sounds very strange and funky to me.
I understand.
So, but I told a couple people at work, I said, just show up and vote.
Well, here's my concern, and I expressed this to Robert and a few people. There's no contested races. We don't typically get a large turnout.
Right, that's another.
This, I mean, and there's some important projects here. Some people may not agree with some of them, that may be done great, they should vote too, but people are more apt to not come at all.
Right.
So the departments, can we promote it on a Facebook page? We can explain them that way, right?
Yeah.
Right, so as the board, and I know you're all aware of this, legally, we can provide information. Obviously, we cannot publish or put anything to say take positions.
Well, not taking positions, but considering that the last time that we've already, in our own selectmen meeting, and it's on video, you can synopsize that if you vote yes, this would mean this, and if you vote no, it would mean this.
Yes.
And you can publicize that.
Right, as long as we put both positions.
You, and you can even say this was, further explained on 7 March, nobody likes that paper anyways. 7 March meeting.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Or Sherman.
Yeah.
So, you can also point that to them, but you can get it out on the Facebook page, which people do share onto their own pages and everything like that.
But it can't go on the ballot.
It can't go on the
Right,
ballot,
but
but
we
you
can
can
do-
at least get the information out there, and you can point them for further information, watch this video where it was discussed.
Yes.
And then they can view it themselves. They're still making up their own minds.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I understand that Ms. Knox and Mr. Wetzel and Mr. Thomas are in the process of, for local access TV, of putting together 4 little videos too, of a snapshot of each of the projects. But yes, we need to, the takeaway, as the board knows tonight, is we need to really promote the accurate information for the 4 questions, and just promote in general to get people out to vote, because there are no contested races. The questions are important, and even though they're uncontested races, we need a good turnout.
But if you even come
Yeah.
up with a little summary, a PDF, and put it on the Facebook page, and then every few days, put it back on the top. Repost it for, the new day or
Maybe the little
something.
son actually can do some reporting and actually.
They're
send it.
supposed to be doing
they're
they're going to be
worried
doing a
about
story
Townsend and
on
Shirley,
this.
too.
We've asked them to do a story on
Yeah,
this,
I asked him
so,
a few things today too.
yes.
Actually, there was something in the paper today.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, I
Okay.
read it online. now that-
On the online?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ann had asked for some info. So, lastly, on the update, in the interest of time, just so the board is aware, and I know this goes back to the renovation of Town Hall, and it's been a long-standing issue, but as the town, we need to once and for all resolve the acoustic issues of the Great Hall, and we have to resolve them in the optimal professional way that also maintains the historic look of the building. So I've asked Ms. Knox to lead up, and this will probably begin, given the amount of things with the budget and so forth, around July 1st. They've already started some due diligence to put together a whole professional plan for your consideration on what we need to do up there to resolve that. Obviously, funding will be a piece of it. and APAC will be consulted appropriately on the needs there. But in addition to the acoustics, all of the multimedia needs up there, including a projection screen, but that's done correctly. It'll be a considerable project, but we need to, once and for all, resolve that issue to the best of our ability.
Ironically, the biggest problem we've had with the acoustics whenever we're up there is because we've had to use the microphones and they've got those speakers that are reverberating. Everybody in the room is saying they can't hear.
We can't hear
And
them.
APAC's always yelling, well, it's because we need all this stuff for the TV that they would then show 4 days
It's
later.
awful. And I know.
And plus the fact we don't always use the stage properly, like when they had the public hearing, if they had kind of sat on the stage, they would have been more elevated and been able to project their voices even better. Well, it's because, but every time we didn't, the few times when I would be like, can you people hear me? All the people said they could hear me, and APAC would yell, you gotta use the microphone so the TV can hear you, and I says, why? You're not gonna, show it for 5 more days.
But, I mean, I know the monitors expressed during maybe the smaller town meeting, once maybe up there utilize it,
But
you
nobody
can't-
wants to because
you
there's
can't
no,
hear.
well, and also the parking. Nobody's gonna
But
want to
there's-
park way down there 3 years from now.
But
And because of all the money we've spent.
but
on
there's a
schools.
lot of events that go on up there.
Agreed.
The Christmas concert,
Yeah.
it'd be
Yes.
great,
Oh,
it's phenomenal,
absolutely.
but you're getting the sound system from.
And I know that you can appreciate this as the chair of the capital planning committee, depending on what the initial analysis shows, and we're looking at a July 1st timeframe to begin this. Depending on the dollar threshold and so forth, it very well will probably be either a capital request for FY 18 or, I mean, depending on, but once and for all, for the town, and there's no reflection of the past, we need to do it right and do it.
It's just
top.
a usable space. We've
Right.
had meetings up there. I mean,
I've read that meeting.
Yeah, the Board of Selectmen
Yes,
used to meet up there. I
exactly.
mean, so.
Be up on that stage.
No, you
Just on real quick, I forgot to mention this. Robert,
Yeah.
as we're on acoustics, so my wife shared with me the Board of Health meeting from the other day. Mary did a nice job. But for the 35 seconds that I can tolerate, this chandelier reflects
Yes, it does.
directly into this
Okay.
at home. And I
Oh, yeah.
never watch meetings, so
Cindy actually mentioned it today and I
Maybe
totally
she did.
forgot, and I'm so sorry, but she said when we have like the mark thing that was on, we should shut this light off because you can.
yeah, I'm
you
sorry, I
can
meant
see
to
it
mention
now.
it earlier too,
Oh,
but
okay.
I noticed, because we were watching on the iPad, and you could see everything, and then that chandelier.
I watched it live.
Sure it's not reflected off your forehead?
It could be.
Yeah, so to 2 other quick points
Somewhere else in life.
to that, we need to address that, and we're also, like this that gives the Wi-Fi password, we're gonna do up a nice one that will remind folks now about that. Also, to
Okay.
speak into the microphones, we've gotten some complaints, some meetings, the microphones aren't correct. And also the system with APAC that when it's recording live and so forth, the light and so forth,
Yes.
you'll probably see an email I think I sent to the board later today that Cindy has a system, her and Dawn.
The
We
sound,
also have to
I felt the sound was
remind
good
the
from the
control
table.
guy
It was
to
just
not be on his
what
phone
was coming out of
when there's a
the speakers,
meeting.
but-
Right, and I saw you talk to him.
Yeah,
You can see
but
it, but it's
also
definitely
you
like-
can hear it later.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
All right.
So, quickly, so the next item is just a brief, in the interest of time, a discussion, and if there is an objection, ask Kevin to come up to the table on the reorganization of the personnel board functions. And let me first say this, and I said this to the current chairman, and I just want to say it again, that what I want to talk about is in no way a reflection of any current personnel board members, recent personnel board members, past personnel board members. It is not a personal issue at all. In fact, many of them through the years have expressed frustrations to me, and I sympathize with them. This is what the fundamental issue is, and it is this going on my 7th year, and some of you have been here a long time, has remained a perennial issue. First of all, and I've asked Kevin, we can discuss this in more detail and he'll get you his findings. The creation of personnel boards largely was a construct of the 1960s and 1970s when towns did not have professional administrative staff. Many towns did not have town administrators or HR folks, even department heads, and a lot of the Board of Selectmen was, and still is, the executive body. There was a creation of a personnel board. If you look at, and we'll have the data for you shortly, not in the interest of time tonight, and it's still being compiled, the trend across the 351 towns in Massachusetts is to move away from personnel boards and to centralize and professionalize all of the personnel functions under the professional staff, with, of course, the Board of Selectmen as the chief executive body, and as you acted tonight. The current construct that Ayer has been very problematic, at least over my tenure, if not before. In the 7 years that I have been the town administrator, there have been 11 instances in which there was not a quorum of the personnel board. So without a quorum, many of those functions defer to the Board of Selectmen, but it creates this inconsistency in these interruptions along the whole continuum, if you will. Secondly, and this is again not a reflection of anybody, and I just stress that because people put a lot of time and effort into this, and I appreciate that, and it's not a reflection on them, and it's not their fault because they've inherited, in my opinion, a broken personnel system. But you would not have a $26 million operation that you would have personnel matters vested in 5 volunteers, whoever they are. You wouldn't do that at Hilco. You wouldn't do that at the post office. The Navy wouldn't do that. The military. In other words, you hire professional staff that are full-time professional staff to administer the personnel of the town. In addition, because of the way the personnel bylaw is written, and that's where it starts, it is the opinion of town council, as well as myself, that unfortunately perhaps have one of the worst personnel bylaws there is on the books. The problem with it is the Personnel Policy and Procedures Manual, for example, under the current bylaw, rests to the Personnel Board. The manual was last updated in 2011. It's now 2017. It hasn't been updated yet, largely because, as I mentioned earlier, there were 11 instances where there's been no quorum of the Personnel Board, and the way the bylaw is written, and that function really, it could defer to the Board of Selectmen, but you guys have a full plate as it is. The manual hasn't been updated. The bylaw also prescribes that there needs to be a public hearing for every policy that's put forward. Now, in some instances, and that I would argue that would be the deference to the Board of Selectmen to determine where applicable on public hearings on big issues, but on minor policy changes, the way the bylaw is written, we have to go through this entire cumbersome process. 2 recent examples, again, no reflection of the Personnel Board. They did their due diligence in the system, but we had no quarry policy and no sexual harassment policy officially codified on the books. When the administration put that forth, it took almost 10 months to get those 2 policies approved. In a new system, which you'll play a key role in, we have to vet all of this. I mean, we're just starting the discussion tonight. I mean, those type of policies could be drafted up by professional staff, vetted through a proper mechanism, and approved by the Board of Selectmen in a more timely manner. Every single reclassification, the reclassification system is broken. It is not a reflection of the Personnel Board. That also goes back to the bylaw. Every single reclassification in my 7 years that has been brought forth has either not succeeded, has resulted in controversy. Selectman Luco, you'll remember in 2011, the entire Personnel Board resigned over one of them. There have been issues, and we don't have all of the answers tonight, Kevin and I, but we cannot continue in the current construct. Now, that doesn't mean that there may not be a Personnel Board moving forward, but what I'm recommending is that we make the preparations, and the bulk of the work will be my office and Kevin's, that we plan for the fall town meeting to look at amending, would be the appropriate time as opposed to the spring, amending the personnel bylaw to put the things that We need to make the changes that best serve the employees of the town, but also serves the town as a whole, because the current construct is not working. The reclassification that the board acted on tonight, not a reflection of anybody, but the current system, it should not take 4 months, 5 months to consider in this case, the one tonight, a routine reclassification. So I wanted to, with the recent resignation of a member of the Personnel Board, and no reflection on him either, there is currently no quorum, which we've had 11 other times. The issues have deferred to the Board of Selectmen. I'm recommending that we, as a town, move forward to correct these deficiencies through the bylaw this fall.
I agree. I mean, for example, in 2014, when we became the Board of Three, and we remember that painful night that I made you guys sit and watch, see what I changed on the policies, Board of Selectmen policies and general policies. And I had looked at the personnel manual. And first of all, I said, this thing's a mess. I didn't like the format and everything, so I cleaned up the format, sent it to Robert. And that was also when we were trying to appoint a member to the Personnel Board at the time. And we had 2 members in the audience who wanted us to go with the 1998 version. We paused, came back the following meeting, and I said, no, we're gonna go with the 2012 bylaw version. And I made a little note with the track changes on saying, this needs to be fixed in this paragraph. He and I looked at it, and I says, this thing's a mess. I formatted it, handed it over to them with no other changes, that could be backed up, and said, this needs to be fixed. That was in summer of 2014. Okay? And again, no reflection, but they were all working on the non-union compensation study, and unfortunately, this didn't happen. But also, I agree that the bylaw, because the bylaw is a mess. I've read it. It makes me dizzy. But on that same token, and I know that the chief has asked that we have a bylaw review meeting, and we're still kind of waiting. When are we going to have like a bylaw review meeting? Because we can't just look at this one. There are other ones that we need to sit down and look at, and then bring it to the Board of Selectmen to say, okay, this one's ready to be put on, for town meeting. This one's ready, whatever. So
I'm serious. No, you're right. Going back to I just said to Gary, the snow on the sidewalk. You're responsible for. I mean, there's a million of them that. A lot of them are enforced.
So on the
found out a little history on that one. That also has to do with people's insurance.
Okay.
So real quick, so there's 2 issues. The overall bylaw review committee, which we need to get back up and going. What has been done is we contracted with MuniCode, sent them the entire.
But that was like a year ago.
Right, but they made all of the recommendations, and unfortunately, part of the delay has been with town council and contacting them. Some of these changes, though, the changes we're being told that have to be made by town meeting, and we have to have a discussion with them as a committee. If we have to go through what MuniCode has done for changes on the town meeting, you're going to need a 3-week town meeting, on all of the changes. So we do need to meet and review, and we need to prioritize.
Well, that's the thing.
And I'm just saying that this one can't wait any longer.
Irony of what you just said. Talking about how long this reclassification went. I know that there were other issues and whatnot, trying to get this one forward. But the irony of what you just said, that town council hasn't gotten back to us, that creates another problem too. So I know town council's busy. But I also know they've got a lot of little deckhands that are sitting there doing the work for them. So, set a fire into them.
We have. We have.
And we did get a response today.
We did.
And Susan
so
actually.
see what happens. Start setting fires a little sooner.
Susan also looked at another company, and the name escapes me, but they'll basically consult us through the whole process because it's very cumbersome. Everything does, even if you have an and where it should be an on, that's gonna be changed by
Town
town
meeting.
meeting.
And
It's
that's-
dumb,
Yeah,
but
and
it's.
I
You need a
understand, but
professional that
we
knows
need,
this and
right,
goes
so
through
we
it.
also
Yeah.
need to get together and
Yes.
get this moving again.
So
I couldn't agree more, and it's
So
you.
what day are we picking?
What?
We could pick a Tuesday night.
Can we get through this issue first?
Yes, so the point I want to make is two things. We will reconstitute the general bylaw group, and we have to prioritize them. This one has got to go to the top. There's some others too, but this priority for the fall.
And what stuck to me is you said this was going to make sense. Brought up when there wasn't a full-time town administrator. There wasn't even, HR didn't exist.
Right.
It didn't exist here until a few years ago, really. I mean, so there was nowhere to go. I mean, now, it just, I said years ago we should abolish just the, myself, but I think.
Did you want to
I do. Mr. Chairman, if I may, in my 24 years of experience in local government, communities west of 128 now, west of 495, the growth of the government and the change in the government has led to the establishment of professional staffing for personnel and HR management. It just catches up a little slower. It's just where we're going. And 20 years as treasurer in Shirley, there was no HR. It all fell to me because that's where the benefits were. That's what happens. This town,
Your positions.
understood. So the migration is to take this to the next step now. It just makes sense.
Exactly.
So we will do two things in the interest of time. Kevin is in the process of compiling some empirical research that we'll synthesize in a spreadsheet on the personnel bylaw for the board. And we will get the group, just so the board is aware, with Selectman Livingston, the police chief, Ms. Copeland, the town clerk, Ms. Antonellis, and myself, was the bylaw review group. We have the Muni Code stuff done. We have some responses from town council. We will also meet and put together a recommendation on a plan, because we are going to have to, we're going to have to phase it in and prioritize it, but we'll put a good plan. So I think we're all on the same page, so that's good. All right. Lastly, you have in your packet the contract for the aquatic weed control contract, and I'm respectfully, thank you, Kevin. I'm respectfully recommending that the BOS approve the contract in the amount of $61,500 for Solitude Lake Management for the town's aquatic weed control. This was procured, an RFP process was done, the Conservation Commission was the review body. There were two respondents through the review of the RFP, and the most responsive and the lowest bid was Solitude, which does have experience also with the town of Ayer. And so with your approval, we will be on schedule to proceed with the aquatic treatment weed control this spring. And it's a signature by the chair.
So I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the aquatic weed control contract with Solitude Lake Management in the amount of $61,500, signature by the chair.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That concludes my report. Thank you all.
Anybody have any new business? I just have one thing. I just found out that Harvard's putting a warrant article about taking over their section of Devon's. So I don't know how you feel about it.
We can with all state aid,
Saw that in Boston Globe.
So we'll probably have a J-Boss meeting, I think. We haven't had one in a year, but we'll probably have one next month.
One quick thing, because you reminded me of something. So Townsend had on their town warrant about marijuana, and I believe it had to do with the zoning bylaw. I think I said to you medical marijuana, but I think it was actually on recreational.
Okay.
So they are putting in front of their town meeting a zoning bylaw, I believe. I perused it real quick.
Okay.
So, but I mean, it was like 4 pages long at least, I swear. But we need to look at that to see if,
Yes,
yeah,
and-
how, I know, but I happened to see it. And I was like, how come they can have something, and might I add, it was put forward by the planning board, the Townsend Planning Board. So we should look at it.
So in that vein, in the
To see if
interest of
there's anything
time.
that applies for us.
I know Callie went to.
So for the 4th, in the interest of time, and Carly went to the thing for the MMA had, and I've asked her to do a report for the board, so we'll have that for the 4th, but we'll take a
Wouldn't
look.
that moratorium be a prudent thing to do, just the 1 year? Because that seems
You
to be.
can ban it. You
Do you
can
think?
actually, so just quick overview, you can, there's, from what they are saying right now, and now they're fighting on who's actually gonna do the Cannabis Control Commission.
Yeah,
Right now it's in the
yeah.
treasurer's office. The treasurer's office has no money for it. It's a mess. But anyway, so they're gonna do like 5 different categories. Retail, grow, there's testing, it's home delivery. So you can basically like, I'm trying to think of the.
You get delivered, I grow my own.
Yeah.
There's 2, West Bridgewater, I wanna say, they just banned it.
Westboro.
Westboro did, and
Yeah.
there's Bridgewater, I think, as well. You can just say, we wanna ban retail.
So, I mean.
But they don't, because there's no regs, they don't know, do you need a town meeting vote, a ballot vote? So they call it the belt and suspenders approach. They did everything. And then they had the Board of Selectmen also say no retail. But because the regulations aren't out yet, they don't, so you can ban it
Yeah,
altogether. But there's also a component, with medical marijuana. If you don't have anything on the books by July 1st of 2018, your medical marijuana facility, if you have one in town, which we do, can automatically switch to recreational.
No.
Unless you don't have.
Again, there's this, other towns are putting forward something, and we haven't put forward anything.
I think Townsend also has a planner working on it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I know is it was recommended by I perused it, and it said recommended by their planning board and everything, and I was like, we gotta look at this.
I guess my point is, if we pass a 1-year moratorium from the date of implementation,
Yeah.
from the state law, it gives us 1 year to sit back, see what the regs are. You know what I mean? I guess that's my point. Just from the 1 year from that implementation, which gives us time to see, like you said, who's going to govern it, what is going to be.
I think though the takeaway from what we know now is we have to have something planned for the fall town meeting because
I agree.
if we don't have anything on the
Exactly, we
books
have nothing.
Right.
by July 1st of 18. I mean, I wouldn't want to wait till the spring of.
No, I would say the fall town
I
meeting.
mean, we never even did anything, no zoning was ever even created for even the medical.
And we were on that board.
You know, and that
The
was-
chairman at the time brought it
we
up.
mentioned-
I
mentioned
And
this.
then
Yeah, it's been
Several
mentioned a few
meetings.
it
times,
died,
yeah.
Remember? And yeah, we brought it up
And
a
I
couple
think
times.
Westford
Looks like
zoned
we have.
something, they
We're
got
lucky
something
that we
done
have
right
it.
away.
They got 2 overlay districts.
Yeah.
Can I control this now?
You lost control around 7:30.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Credit tonight.
at a minimum, for the next meeting, which is the 4th, and I know there's a lot of things for the 4th, Ms. Antonellis will synthesize her findings from the MMA, and we'll put it on the agenda at least, again, for further discussion, but I think the takeaway is, A, we obviously need something on the books, B, the fall town meeting would be the appropriate place in terms of a town meeting action, and we will not lose track of this because it's too important.
Minutes?
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of February 13th, 2017.
Second.
I'm going to do them all together. Okay. And of February 21st, 2017, and March 7th, 2017.
Second one.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
It's gonna be real quick.
How about we move into executive session? Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A, Exemption 3, Litigation Strategy, Police Reserve Officer Compensation. Exemption 3, Collective Bargaining, AFSCME 93, Contract Negotiation Update. Been doing these in executive session. We'll be doing these in open session. Would be detrimental to the town, and the Board of Selectmen will adjourn at the conclusion of executive session.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, Janice?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Chair says aye, we're in executive session.